Meet Sriracha Saga, my Hosidius locked Ironman. Being locked to only these chunks is not only a challenge, but also a wild ride of discovery. We've locked ourselves to the one area that does this. Entertainment. It could even be 1,000 coins. And masochism. We only need 100,000 flags. Now, this may seem like a small area on a continent known to be devoid of any content, but it holds many interesting secrets and has a lot more to do than one would expect. The main goal of this account is obtaining Sriracha, Sarachnis' pet. With less access to supplies and gear, grinding this mid-level boss becomes an arduous task. So, let's get started. And here we are, a Hosidius locked Ironman. This should be fun. Now, this account's starting out with 22 thieving and 3 woodcutting. For no reason except this account had a year's membership put on it, so I may as well use it, and it's not exactly that far progressed. We're gonna start out by doing what every new account does best. Thieving. There's a pub here that sells jugs of wine for 1 GP each, which will probably be our go-to food source until we start getting ourselves some grubby keys. It also sells cups of tea, which could be pretty interesting, as cups of tea boost attack by 2, plus 2% of your level, which might end up useful. I am going to do my due diligence and start the thieving grind with men, just because it feels wrong to start straight at 22. And here is the most hype moment of the account so far. Our first 1,000 gold pieces. This has got me all the way to 26 thieving, so I'm going to call that fair game with the head start. Before we do anything else though, let's spend some of this hard-earned GP on jugs of wine. With only 5 a world, we need to do a lot of hopping. So while we're collecting these wines, let's have a brief talk about what's available in Hosidius. Believe it or not, we have access to almost every skill in the game. Obviously there's no Slayer Master ruling out Slayer, nor a runecrafting altar ruling out runecrafting, and there's also no way to obtain fishing equipment. But bar these, every skill is trainable in some capacity. Herblore obviously requires Druidic Ritual, which will be the one exception we allow on this account due to the surprisingly abundant amount of herblore supplies within Hosidius itself, but it's not time to talk about that just yet. Hunter and Agility are both technically possible to train. Hunter can be lamped to 17 and then trained within Puro accessed via the wheat field in Hosidius, and Agility can either be lamped to 40 and trained on the stepping stones, which isn't really viable, or we can create a toy doll in our player-owned house and train Agility using that. Every other skill in the game is quite feasible within this small, albeit beautiful area, which is what makes this kind of account possible in the first place. But we have one surprising issue. Firemaking, fletching, and ranged are all locked behind woodcutting. Which you'd think would be fine because we're in the home of the Woodcutting Guild, right? Well, yes, but no. The only way to obtain an axe in Hosidius is via the shop in the Woodcutting Guild, requiring 60 woodcutting to enter. So, to train woodcutting we need to— oh, we're done buying wines, never mind. Let's take a little trip to the best named shop in the game, the Little Shop of Horace. We're doing this to buy a very important item, a hammer. Now, believe it or not, we can actually obtain full red dragonhide armor locked solely to Hosidius. But to do so, we need a whopping 77 crafting. Our best crafting method pre-Red Dragonite is turning flax into bowstring on the spinning wheel in Watson's house. So let's go ahead and prepare for that grind by getting 10 crafting now, so we can actually spin the flax when we need to. To do this, we're going to be doing plows. Not only do these give crafting and farming experience, they also give Hosidius favour. And as a citizen of this great city, I need to do my part to fit in. Ugh, forgot how slow this is. 10 crafting XP per repair, meaning I need 116 repairs to hit level 10. And there is the first crafting level of the account, as well as 5% favour already. I'm interested to see where we end up towards the end of this. There's 6 crafting, almost halfway there. Ooh, and there's our first genie. Some of you might hate me for doing this, but I'm putting this into woodcutting. Trust the process, trust the process. It is essential. The only axe we can feasibly obtain is going to be a black axe, which requires 11 woodcutting and a hell of a lot of clues. So we have a long way to go. And somewhere in the region of 2.5 hours later, there is 10 crafting. We can now make bowstrings. The main problem for crafting is, to hit 77, we're gonna need just shy of 100,000 bowstrings. And Watson's spinning wheel is probably one of the furthest away from a bank in the game. Add this into the fact that the flax itself is fairly far away from a bank. We'll be in for a tough time with this one. But we'll save that for the future me, because until we get an axe, we're locked out of range regardless, so red DI'd would be useless even if we could get it. So the axe takes priority. Anyways, giving these plows a good ploughing got us 36% favour with Hosidius, which allows us to now steal from the Hosidius fruit stall, as well as being able to make fertiliser. It also allows us to plant a spirit tree, but that is genuinely useless on this account. Now it's time to move on to some combat. Believe it or not, slaughtering men and women is really great for us here. Not only do they drop 2 current best in slots for us, a bronze medalm and an iron dagger, but they also drop a lot of herbs and stackable items such as bronze ammunition and runes, the most important of which will be mind runes, helping us get through the early magic levels when we need them. Also, I'm going to bury every single bone that we get, as protection prayers are a must-have for the future, and the quicker we get 37 prayer, the better for a very important NPC a little later down the line. Oh, and there's a bronze medalm on our second kill. Not super useful, but it's good to be spooned. A best in slot is a best in slot, and this might be our best helmet for a long time. Oh my god, yes. Now here's an upgrade, the iron dagger. It's not much of one, but only 74 kills in, so been pretty spooned on both. I am enjoying this newfound RNG. Now, we did get a lot of bronze bolts already, but the issue is we're pretty much fully locked out of crossbows due to there being no way to obtain limbs. There's nothing that drops them like iron and steel dragons, and there's no anvil to actually smith any. We do have a mining spot, and superheat item exists, but genuinely because there's no furnace or anvil, we can't actually process anything to do with smithing, so training is essentially useless. If we did include Land's End, there is actually a crossbow spawn there, but we didn't and we shouldn't. So let's move on to the 1 drop of 7 bronze arrows that we got, which might actually be usable. Not many kills in, and the bank's already looking pretty tasty. We've even got a Ranor already, which is a future prayer potion. Now, as we talked about earlier, I am locked out of fishing, meaning fishing for my cooking experience is not really possible. However, Hosidius does have a very unique training method in the mess hall. This requires 45% Hosidius favour to access, which we're already pretty close to from the ploughing, and more importantly, all of the training supplies are given to you. The main problem is, to access the mess hall, it also requires 20 cooking. So let's go and do everyone's go-to training method. Killing cows. 100 total level? Okay, so we need 147 meat to achieve 20 cooking. But we may as well cook them on the way back, as there is a range in the bar, and this way we know how many we're burning as we go. There's 2 cooking. Oh man, we ended up with 15 burnt meat in the first inventory. This is gonna take a little bit longer than expected. Also, considering RuneScape's equivalent of Gordon Ramsay lives in this city, I'm a letdown. I'll do better. Just got our first beginner clue scroll of the series, and unfortunately, we won't ever be able to do one of these, as there are absolutely 0 Zaya steps on beginner clues, because they're for non-members. Okay, so we're just taking a quick break as I've been scrolling through the wiki trying to find a different way to get an axe before we commit to our clue grind. On the chunk picker it says these skeletons are plain, but when you actually go to them they're holding weapons, so they're armed. However, if you look on the wiki, it says that the Forthos ruined skeletons do count as plain skeletons, which has its own problems. Whilst the skeletons are armed in model, as they count as plain skeletons, they only drop bones. The reason this was worth my time to check out is because armed skeletons actually drop 2 upgrades in an iron medhelm and an iron scimitar. But most importantly, they also drop an iron axe, meaning I wouldn't have had to lamp woodcutting. But unfortunately, I went to kill a few on the main and the wiki is indeed correct. They only drop bones. So, for some damn reason, I've locked myself to the one place in the game where armed skeletons are considered plain. What a disappointment, man. And there it is, the big 20 cooking on the account, meaning we can now get into the mess hall and serve the first dish. As well as the all-important cooking level, the cow grind also got us 23 strength, 15 attack, and also 11 prayer. which is not bad at all. Seeing as this has ended up being a giant preparation episode, let's now train thieving at fruit stalls to get to Master Farmers, which are level 38. Now, obviously Master Farmers are going to be our main source of seeds, and we do have one herb patch available. But we also need 57 thieving to open the grubby chest in Forthus Dungeon, as the drops from that chest are absolutely incredible. Not only does it drop our best in slot food, it also drops brews, restores, supersets, dragon bones, rare herbs, runes, and most importantly, the Sriracha pet recolors in the orange and blue egg sacs, which we're gonna want. We can't have the main goal of the account and not be able to style it, like, come on. Now, fruit stalls themselves also have some very interesting drops. The main one is the Golivanova fruit top. I'm gonna butcher that at some point. The Golivanova fruit top can be used to make a botanical pie, which gives a +4 boost to herblore. These require 52 cooking to make, which is part of the reason why the mess hall is going to be very good for this account. Another interesting drop from fruit stalls are the strange fruits. Now, with no access to agility, we've got virtually no way to get stamina pots, nor super energy potions due to the lack of Mortmire fungus. So, strange fruits are our best way to restore run energy. Each fruit restores 30% run energy, as well as curing poison and venom, which a lot of people don't know, which won't be that useful here. But if I decide to do activities such as Tithe Farm that require a lot of running around, having a way to restore run energy will be really important, especially with only one agility. And there's 28 thieving, giving us a 150 total level. Oh, I just got back-to-back Golivanova fruit tops, gimme? Now, I lost some footage here, but all we did was get the 38 thieving required for Master Farmers, and I gave them a little test run, as you can see from the seeds in the bank. All in all, we got 19 Golivanova fruit tops, which is 19 future botanical pies, assuming that none burn. As well as this, we got 30 strange fruits, and then from the Master Farmers we can finally start farming properly, as we've got the allotment seeds. The problem with farming is that compost costs 20 GP per, which adds up. The packs are 2k each, so we need some more money. For now, I just bought 10 compost, so let's go and start some proper farming. The reason that I say proper farming is because doing the ploughing earlier got us 7 farming, which isn't actually that bad. Now, the good thing about having a patch of right in the centre of Hosidius means I can keep on top of my farm runs, as I should always be in the area somewhere. But knowing me, I'm going to make an excuse to not go and do the farm runs anyway, even though they're important. Anyways, whilst we do this farming grind, we're going to be just up the road killing men and women. Once again, this is mainly to stack up mind runes and bronze arrows for the future, as it's the most effective way, if not one of the only ways of collecting them here. However, more importantly, it's finally time to do the black axe grind, or at least start it. Men and women have a 1 in 128 chance of dropping an easy clue, and from every easy clue roll, a black axe has a drop rate of 1 in 36. Now, at an average of 3 rolls per casket, that means we need to complete an average of 12 clues, which is no easy feat. However, there is one saving grace. Whilst there are no emote clues nor map clues in Hosidius for easy clue scrolls, there are a whopping 5 cryptic clues we can get to, meaning completing an easy clue is very possible, albeit a very long grind. With the concept of clue juggling, however, it should make it a lot easier. And so, we started killing, and then a wise old man told us to stop. Just kidding. He asked if we'd like to complete a maze, and who doesn't love a maze? We actually got some mithril ore, nature runes, and steel arrows from this, which isn't great, but the steel arrows and nature runes could be useful later down the line. It's also worth noting here that I could farm a load of arrows, bronze and iron from the chests within this minigame, but if we ever need to do that, we'll get into that further down the line. And there's 15 defense. I decided to train a bit of defense so we could use as little food as possible, because wines do lower your attack level. And finally, 311 kills in, and there's our first easy clue scroll. Can we do it? Of course not. Ooh, Quizmaster. Now, we're obviously going to go for the mystery box. It could even be 1,000 coins. And 1,000 coins for compost is awesome, but this could be anything. Ooh, clue number 2. Never lucky. We've been killing these for quite a while, and here is going to be 30 strength coming in. This has absolutely flew by, and we're still only on 2 clue scrolls. Now, we're actually going to go ahead and swap off to attack here, as we've got some plans for when we hit level 30. I just got my second Iron Dagger drop at 490 kills. I'm so happy I spooned that first one. I would have been punching them for a long time. Clue number 3, what'll it be? East Ardy. Oh, and another one shortly after. Ugh. And there is 30 attack. We can now wield adamant weapons. From what I'm aware, we only really have one good choice of weapon. Let's hunt it down.